So, hey, that is just a small look into what the last week has been like for about 30 from the Vox family. A little over a decade ago, there was a man who had felt called from his church to go serve in Villavicencio, and he went into a neighborhood and began to serve milk and some other kind of snack to kids that he found on the street. And then he would tell them about Jesus and what ended up starting as this man feeling God's call to go serve in this place, and he was just doing literally whatever he could do, which was feed kids in this place, began to grow. At that time, God had put something on the heart of our church with the Tiuso family, and we sent a group there to try to find someone that we could establish a mission with. When we met this man, we realized that God was doing something special in this place. And as time would go on, a church would be planted right there. What's really special about this place is when you look across the street and down the street, you're looking at brothels. And so most of the kids who are coming to church any given week are the children of prostitutes pushed out by their moms. Most kids have absolutely terrible home situations, and yet God has planted a church there, and it's thriving, and God is transforming. And so what's amazing was we took our first Vox team literally a decade ago in 2014. I got to be a part of this trip in 2014. What year did your brother go? Was that 2014 with us? 2016 maybe? 2014. Maya's brother would sell American snacks at outrageous prices to our team. And it was hilarious. But for the last decade, we've been connected to this church in Colombia. Our last missions trip was set for 2020. And if you remember, that was the end of missions for us. 2020, we had to cancel our trip, and Vox has not been back to Colombia since 2018. It was literally a 6-year gap since we've been back to the Fundación. Gotten to see the kids who, some of them are no longer kids, some of them are now leading the ministries that we left them with. Some of them are in totally different life seasons. But here's the deal. God is doing a work there, and it's a privilege for us to be a part of it. So we're going to take some time tonight to share with you some of the things that God did. Now, let me just ask what I know is a rhetorical question. Raise your hand if you did not go to Colombia. Raise your hand. Okay, so most of you have no idea what we're talking about. And that video was nice, but you still have no idea what we're talking about. Let me explain something. Tonight is not for the team. I've already talked to the team. We've already talked, we've met, I've heard their stories, I know their stories. Tonight is not for the team to come up and relive their favorite memories of last week. That's not what this is. Tonight is for your Vox family to share with you what God is doing so that you can be a part of the story. The reason that we're going to have them share tonight is not because they had a cool trip. It's so that God would birth something in you. Can I tell you what my prayer is? My prayer is that some of you would hear stories tonight and go, I want to do that too. That's it. That's my hope. My hope is you go, oh my goodness, God, you're amazing, and I want to be a part of it. Because here's the deal. Whether you recognize this or not, every single one of you, have a mission from God, which is to help other people know Jesus personally. You may not know that. You may come into this place and be like, hey, I don't even believe in Jesus. But I'm telling you something that part of God's design for you was so that you would be someone who helps other people find Jesus. That's actually on your job description. And so here's the deal. My hope is that tonight you get encouraged. Because God did some really incredible things. And we just want to share with you so that you're part of it. So that you're part of what God did, so that you're part of what God's doing, so that you get to get a heart and a burning for the mission of God. And so let me just give some instructions real quick. We're going to open up some time up here. This is really important. The open mic is for those who went to Colombia. And so as much as I'd love to hear the rest of your stories, not tonight. So I would, after Vox, sit down with me. I'll be here for hours. I'll listen to all your stories. But tonight, I want you to hear from what God did in our Colombia team. Let me ask you to do something. I know we prepped you, but we want to talk about what we were expecting kind of before this trip. What we saw God do on that trip, what was amazing to us, and then talk about what effect it's had on us. And here's the deal. The more raw we can get, I think the better this is going to be with our family. And we saw in Colombia how being vulnerable really opened up some incredible doors. And I told you, everything you did in Colombia is a transferable skill. And so if you could share with a bunch of high school strangers who don't even speak your language, you can share with the people who love and care about you in here. And so Colombia team, I'm gonna invite you to come. You can start to line up here. Here, we're gonna actually start with one of the testimonies from Skyla and Kay, who couldn't be here with us tonight. So we're going to throw this up here. Vox Colombia team, come on up here during this. Let's get ready. Check this out.
Hi, I'm Skyla. The trip to Colombia was super awesome. I saw miracles, I saw saints, and I saw so many other incredible things I wasn't expecting, I guess. One of the miracles I saw that had a really big impact on me was when we were at the church on Wednesday night, and praising the Lord and everything, and it was just amazing. Josh had an awesome service, and Josh told us all to get up and pray over people, and obviously we don't speak Spanish, so some people were a little I wasn't really sure what they wanted me to pray for, but we prayed for them anyways. And at one point, Josh and I were praying over one of the ladies there, and she had said that her leg had hurt earlier in an accident. She fell off her bike or something, and Josh asked her what level of she was feeling, and she said it was about 4 or 5. And after we had prayed for her, and when we were leaving that night, she had come up to me, and she was crying, and I was crying because we had just said bye to all the kids, and even though it's been only there for 2 days, the little kids were so special, and we all had a really good bond. So I miss them, and I was just sobbing, and we were trying to get on the bus, and this lady came up to me, and she was like, it's gone. Like that's what I heard, but she was saying in Spanish, so that was kind of cool, because I didn't need to communicate, like I knew what she was saying. So that was really cool. And yeah, it was just such an amazing trip. I'm definitely going next time, and I can't wait to see the kids again because there were so many special moments with them, and it was just overall incredible. Hi, I'm Kay. Going to Colombia and seeing those kids. I just wanted hugs, and it was so nice to be able to just get a hug from them. And we got to meet our kids who my family has been sponsoring for 2.5 years. And just seeing them in person and nodding pictures, it was so cool. And Before I went to Colombia, I'd been going through a season where my faith had been really tested, and I didn't really have a testimony. So I thought I didn't plan on sharing mine with the older kids. But when we got to Colombia, I knew I had to talk about it, what I had been going through, and I knew a lot of people were able to relate to it, and that was really cool. I had one of the staff from the foundation. She came up to me and she prayed over me, and she started ministering to me, which was incredible because I didn't think that was gonna happen. But she shared a verse with me, and she got a translator to say what she was saying. And ever since then, I've kind of had peace about what's been happening, and I've been having healing, and I know a lot of people connected with what I had to say, and it did touch people, because your story does have a lot of impact on people around them. And I can't wait to go back next year because I have so many people I want to talk to now, and hopefully I'll be better at Spanish. But yeah, that's it.
All right, so I told y'all everybody came back a little different. Everybody came back a little changed, and I can't imagine me in a cowboy hat. But let me tell you something right now. When in Colombia, you do as the Colombians do, and so soy colombiano. All right, hey, I want to welcome up Maddox real quick. Y'all make some noise for Maddox. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm amazing, actually.
Hey, tell us a bit about this past week. Colombia. Yeah. Talk about how you were feeling before the trip. What were you feeling before the trip?
So before the trip, I was in a dry season of my faith. For the past couple months, I decided to turn away from the Lord, picking up old habits like I did. Back then, I started vaping again, and I started drinking, and I felt an emptiness, and I was ready to turn away from this trip and just give it up. And it didn't fulfill, and it just progressively got worse. And Dina prayed for me on Thursday before the trip, and I felt convicted. I felt like I belonged on this trip. And so as this week went on, my spark came back. I decided to trust in the Lord again and burn for Him, to be on fire for God. And He changed my life, but I also got to change kids' lives. Like worshiping, these kids felt so, I guess, we were role models to them, especially in worship, because we're youth on fire for God, and they think because they're young, they can't be on fire. But it doesn't matter what age you are, you can be on fire for God, and you can love God, and God will love you. And He doesn't care about your past. He cares about you and you giving your life to God. And so I saw a change in the kids' lives, but not just theirs, mine too. Sunday we got to the church, and I figured out you can sponsor a kid personally yourself. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to sponsor a kid. I want to show him God's love through me. And so I prayed the night before, and the next day came, and there's this one kid. He just stuck by my side the entire day. His name was Jesus, or Jesus. And it's not a coincidence. God put him around me that day. I asked Carolina if he had a sponsor, and he didn't. And so I knew I was going to sponsor him. And the next day came, he asked Paco, does Maddox have a sponsor? Does he sponsor anybody? And I was like, no. He's like, can he sponsor me? And I kind of avoided the question because I was going to tell him later that day I was going to be a sponsor. And to see his face when I told him, these kids have nothing. We are truly grateful for what we have, the clothes, the shoes. Like I see some of you guys wearing Yeezys and Jordans over here. These kids don't have that. They barely have food on their plates. So getting to tell him that I get to sponsor him, he broke down and started crying. And obviously I started crying. And it's not just about giving the money to them. It's about the connection. Because I learned on this trip, there's that language barrier that I couldn't speak to them. And we both loved God, and God was the center of that relationship, and he prospered in the end. So,
yeah, so good,
yeah.
So good. Hey, anything? What's changed in you?
I wasn't into the Bible as much. I didn't read. I didn't pray before this, and music too. I decided to change all those old habits, listen to Christian music, pray in every circumstance, whether it be good or bad, and to continue to trust in him and read the Bible.
Hey, y'all, give it up for Maddox. Thank you, Maddox. Appreciate it, man. Come on, Eli. Come on.
Hello.
Elias.
Ellie.
Ellie. Ellie in
I
Colombia.
am Ellie in Colombia.
Hey, tell us a little, what were you expecting before the trip?
So I had done Rosetta Stone ahead of the trip, and after I finished, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to use this. Like, nothing clicked. I didn't expect to be able to use it as much as I did, and I'm grateful I did do it, even though it was annoying. But just being able to be available, and God was able to use that. So,
what did you see God do on this trip?
On Wednesday night, the kid that my family sponsors, Samuel, which is the pastor's son, he had been sitting by himself, and he was just crying when everybody else was praying for people. And apparently, I think, where's Lloyd? I know he walked in late. But, oh yeah, there he is. But I think Lloyd had prayed for him before I got to him. So he was just bawling by himself. And so I sat next to him and just hugged him for a bit. And then I got one of the staff over there to come and translate. And just like, hey, what do you need prayer for? And he said loneliness. And I'm like, well, I'm right here. So just like that little piece of he felt alone and he was alone, and then God being able to move me to go. So that was interesting. And I got to pray over him, and we cried more and we hugged more and all the things. But it was just, it was good to see God use his people even with that language barrier and all that. Yeah. And then the next day, Dina had opened it up for people to give their lives to Christ. And he had been one that was kind of back and forth for a bit. And that Thursday, he finally gave his life to the Lord. So I'm going to take that as a win.
Yeah, that's a huge win. That's a huge win. Hey, what's different in you?
I think I will start to worship a little bit different, because over there's just so much energy that that everybody gave their all, and it's something that that I can do even if other people aren't. So that worshiping different, and also just keeping Colombia in mind and keeping the students in mind, and praying for them and all those types of things.
Yeah. Hey, come on, let's celebrate that somebody gave their life to Jesus, and thank Eli. Come on, let's make some noise. Good. Amazing. Welcome, Miss Addie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great. Hey, y'all, didn't she crush it on announcements? Yeah, she did. Yeah, fantastic. Hey, what was going on before the trip?
So the past few months have been a little hectic. So I've been praying, but also like a little, like a lot of, I feel like silence from God in a way. So I was getting a little bit like drier in my faith, as some would say, and I actually was really not thinking about going on the trip for a minute. But yeah.
Okay, so that was all pre-trip.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see God do on that trip?
I think God showed me a lot of his love and his faithfulness to us as his children, and just how a lot of these children are in such a hopeless situation, but have so much hope and so much love because of Jesus. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's a standout moment for you?
So I actually shared my testimony for the first time, and I found a lot of freedom in that. And I know, like, the things that happen in our testimony, and they're all, like, it kind of sucks. And you're like, okay, God, why is this happening? Like, what are you going to use this for? But a girl there actually ended up relating a lot to my testimony, and she shared hers, and I got to pray with her and talk with her through her situation. And it was kind of just like, I feel like God reassuring me, like, hey, this happened to you, so you were able to minister to her and help her through this.
Yeah, which I know was big. It was big for you to share your story, but it immediately had a connection. When you came back, what's God been doing?
So like I said, I was praying a lot, and I felt like God was being very silent, not giving me an answer. And I've been praying about a pretty big decision for probably 2 or 3 months now. And I've just been like, God, please give me a very clear answer on this, just so I know that it's your will, what you're doing, and everything like that. And so
Today's Wednesday.
On Monday night, God gave me like the clearest answer possible on this decision, and kind of just showed me his faithfulness and his love to me, and that was really big.
Yeah, come on. I love it because like we spent time praying about this Saturday, I think, or Sunday. I don't even remember the day.
Saturday.
But yeah, spent time praying about this, and God was so clear to respond. And so I think there's just a testimony of God answering prayers.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, come on. Hey, y'all make some noise for that. Thank you, Miss Addie. Thank you. Come on, Miss Haley. Haley.
Yeah.
Did I say it better or
I think so. I don't really
more?
know. They couldn't pronounce my name right.
Haley?
Something like
All
that.
right. Hey, what were you feeling before the trip?
So I'm going to be honest with you guys. Probably the month leading up to Colombia, I was heavily considering, like, I'm not supposed to be going. I just did this to be part of some church group, be cool, whatever. Who wants to do cold showers every day? Who wants to deal with all the bugs?
We didn't tell anybody about that. There is no hot water, and there are tarantulas. Keep going.
Yeah, the bugs, the cold water, the humidity, all that kind of stuff. Plus little kids hanging on me. Not really my thing. I don't really like them.
Like them?
Like
Like
the little
children?
kids.
Yeah, okay.
Like, not for me. So, and I was like, I don't know about this. So I went to Rebecca. I saw her somewhere. But on Wednesday before Vox, and I had her pray for me because I was really dealing with this guilt of I signed up. I don't want to go. How do I deal with this, God? I don't feel worthy enough to go. I don't feel like, this is really my purpose, or really what is my purpose in going to Colombia in my future. I just had a lot of big decisions that I was dealing with, and I wasn't sure how to go.
So then what stood out to you on the trip?
So we went. I'm also not a big people person, honestly. Like 30 people for a week, that's not my mom and my sisters. That sounds a little crazy. But I ended up getting really close with a lot of different people on the trip. I loved hearing everybody's little testimonies, and especially seeing people connect with kids. I loved watching Lana and Kiara especially connect with these little kids and just pour into them, especially because I don't really see them in that light. So getting to see them worship with these kids, just connect with them and love on them, as well as everybody else, including myself. I was not expecting to connect with the little kids. I was just there kind of to help with everything, and really just connecting with them and really feeling like how much God loves me as his child and being able to pour that out onto them. Watching them eat when they don't expect to have food. I sat with one little boy for breakfast, and at lunch, he took his chip bag and he started going around collecting all the little pieces of food he could find left over on the trays. And I was like, what are you doing? He's stuffing this food that was on the floor. I'm like, are you throwing it away? What's happening? And he explained to me that I'm taking it home to my family, and I'm gonna have a hamburger for breakfast because I don't know what I'm gonna get to eat. And it was really just eye-opening how much food waste we have in America, how much food you go to restaurants and you see thrown away, and just how ungrateful I've really been for everything in my life. The car I have, like just waiting to get to work at a light, like how impatient I am. And it really just opened my eyes to like how much God has provided for us.
That's so good. And you shared a little bit just in the gratitude, but is there anything else and connecting with kids. Is there anything else that you feel like is different coming back?
Yeah, I think it just taught me a new love for like God's children. Like he says, they will be the ones to inherit his kingdom. And just really eye-opening in how I should love kids, not just in Colombia, but also here. Like that doesn't stop there. And be able to connect with them and pour into them. As well as the youth, I was also able to share my testimony, which is not something I was super excited about, to get up in a room full of a bunch of people and talk about the hurt I've gone through in my life. But kind of relating to what Addie said, the freedom that we have in that. And this is just an encouragement like for you guys to share your testimonies as well. As the new school year is coming up, just you can relate and you can really show God to other people through that. And it's a really an easy way to kind of talk about God.
Yeah, so good, so good. Y'all thank Hailey for sharing with us right now. Come on. Captain, how you doing?
So, Josh.
Mr. Christian, good to see you, sir.
You too.
Christian and I got to share a room together. So we're really close now. Really
Yeah,
close.
saw
Really
them
close.
posters.
Yeah. I mean, that's not what I was going to share on stage, but that's fine. That's fine. Hey, how are you feeling before the trip?
Similar to what Haley said, to be honest, I didn't really like want to go anymore because like it was eating up like a lot of my money, like over $1,000. I was like, dang, I'm broke. But anyways, yeah, I didn't really want to go on the trip until like I got to the airport and I was like, okay, I kind of want to go now. But yeah, at first I didn't really want to go, but at the end of the day, I'm really glad I went.
Yeah. Why are you glad you went?
I just feel like God used me in different ways to like lead people to God, and He also like changed like a lot in my life too. It was just a good experience.
Was there anything like that stood out, like this moment or this story had a big impact?
I don't think I have like a specific story, but like I just feel like God used like me and a lot of the other guys like Maddox, Lloyd, Eli, and them, and Aiden, just to be like father figures, I guess, towards like the kids. Because I don't think I met like a single kid. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I met a single kid that actually like had their father in their life, like any of them. So I just feel like that was very like important to them. But yeah, I feel like there was a lot of people that were like speaking in tongues and doing things like that. I feel like when people think of like a missions trip, they have like this idea in their head, like you got to do all these like spiritual, like crazy things. But I feel like that's not something you have to do. I feel like, because the Bible says like the hands are just as important as the feet. So the body can't, function without both. So I may not be like, prophesying or speaking in tongues, but I feel like I still played my role, and I definitely like showed the love of Jesus towards these kids, along with like all the other guys there.
Yeah, come on. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Hey, and what's different coming back?
I'm definitely a lot more grateful just in every aspect of my life, because just seeing how like unfortunate the kids like really are. Like you guys said, like yeah, they're poor, but like I didn't think it was that bad. But like it was definitely like eye-opening. Like I got like a bed to sleep in. I got hot water. I got food in the pantry, in the fridge. I got clothes. I got a job. I'm really fortunate, and I feel like before the trip I was very ungrateful and just always complaining about like things in my life. But I feel like now I'm definitely a lot more grateful. Also just keeping like a lot of the kids in prayers, because they asked me to, and I feel like it's kind of what I got to do now.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep our word with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Hey, y'all thank Christian for sharing with us.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Adam. How are you?
I'm good.
You also crushed it at announcements. Y'all make some noise for Miss Faith. All right. Miss Faith, what were you feeling before we left?
So to be honest, at first I did not want to go on this missions trip. They announced it and I was like, mission trip? That is not for me. Like, I'm not one to do that. Like, I've never felt called to that. But then a couple of my friends decided that they were gonna go, and I thought, you know what? Let's give it a try. Like, this might be like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. So I'll see how it goes. And then I kind of felt more confident in myself when as time started to move. But then it actually got to the night before, and I had so many doubts about myself. I thought that I wasn't worthy to go on this trip. I just thought, I'm not, like, my life isn't how it should look like if for me to be going on a missions trip. Like, I just didn't think I was good enough to do it. But then, obviously I went. And it was really amazing. And all the things that God did. He definitely changed my perspective on things. And it was just really cool to see how grateful these kids were, and how much they just were enjoying every minute of the time that they had spent with us. And you would never guess the backgrounds that they came from because of how joyful and how grateful they were for everything that they got.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Was there any one moment that stands out?
Yeah, I actually have two. So
you're allowed to.
Okay, thank
All right.
you. So there's this little girl, Stephanie, who we actually sponsor in Kid Life, and I do offerings sometimes on Sundays, and I really got to connect with her, and I spent the 2 days that I had with her just connecting with her, and it was really interesting to me because even though that there was that language barrier, she still got to know a lot about me, and I got to know a lot about her, because when she had a question for me and I didn't understand, she would go drag a translator over to talk to me, just to know things like what's my mom's name or how old I am, things like that. And that was really cool to me because even though there was that barrier, it didn't stop her from communicating with me and getting to learn more about the Lord. And my second one was, for those of you who went to camp, we did the line in Colombia. And it was really cool to see how people who live across the world have so much in common with you. And even though there are those barriers of us living very different lives, we still have that common ground, which was really good.
Yeah. So we did this thing where we put a line in the middle and we'd ask a question like, hey, step up to the line if you've ever this, or, if you don't live at home with your parents, or, whatever it was. And we got to see that. What are some of the things that are different for you coming back?
So with the line thing, for me, sharing the word has always been hard for me, in school, or just when I go to the store and I see someone and I get that thought in my head like, oh, you should go talk to them about Jesus, and I don't. But I had a change in my heart, because if I'm able to share and minister to these kids who I don't even speak the same language as, who are my age, if not older or younger, then why can't I do that to the kids that are my friends, or the people that I have classes with, like the people that I know? That should be the easiest thing for me.
Come on, y'all. Hey, make some noise for Faith. Thank you. Come on. What's up, Miss Jill? You ready? How you doing? No?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
yeah.
she's good.
Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah.
Hey, what were you feeling? What were you feeling before the trip?
Honestly, didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was
Yep.
just like, hey, like, this seems fun. Like, might as well go. Yeah, that was a lot of money, but it was worth it. So, I when we were on the plane or whatever, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't feel like I'm worthy of doing it. But once I got there, I was like I want to be here. So, yeah.
What happened? What did you see God do while there?
So, okay, when I think part of the reason why I didn't want to go, right, was because I was slipping away from my faith. But as I was there, it got stronger. And now I'm a lot stronger than I've ever been in my faith. So I think that's what God did within me.
That's amazing. Did you have a moment that really stood out to you?
Oh, okay. So we split up the girls and the guys, and the girls were we were all sharing our testimony, and just seeing how close up these girls are, but how little they know about each other, and it's they're your best friend, but you don't know any of their backstory at all, and just seeing them all relate to each other and connect was really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's so huge. Huge. Anything else you feel like? I know you shared it a little, but anything else you feel like has changed for you coming back?
I mean, like I'm definitely more grateful too. Yeah, that's a big one.
Miss Jill, thank you so much. Y'all make some noise for her. Come on. Welcome, Miss Gabby.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Good. How useful was your Spanish in Colombia?
I actually talked a lot more Spanish than I thought I was able to.
Uh-huh.
And my friend's mom, Dina, she told me like, "Oh, did you use your Spanish?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like I was actually surprised that I was able to do it.
Yeah, I'm working on almost a 200-day Duolingo streak.
Duolingo
so we'll
does not help. I'm sorry.
Hey,
It does
stop.
not
We're gonna
help.
get there.
It does not help.
We're gonna get there. Hey, what were you feeling before the trip started?
Well, I was being pretty lukewarm. I was, living as, I wanted what God wanted for me, but I wasn't living wholeheartedly for Him. I let depression and anxiety consume me, and it was to the point where, like, we were worshiping and we were, like, singing the song, "I Speak Jesus," and that's when, like, I was finally able to understand my fear of abandonment, my fear of rejection, and I was able to, like, once I recognized it, I was able to break off those chains.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
That's really huge. And so that was on the trip. I Speak Jesus on the trip. What other moments did you see God move on the trip?
When I was praying over Yvonne and she gave her life to Christ, and she didn't understand what I was saying, but she kept on crying the whole time, and then I didn't even know she didn't give her life to Christ. But when I prayed over her, and it wasn't just me, it was Skyla as well, when I found out that she gave her life to Christ after, it was like, wow, God really used me. And I honestly, I gave glory to God for that.
Yeah,
because it wasn't my
amazing.
doing. It was His.
Amazing. That's amazing. Hey, y'all celebrate a girl giving her life to Jesus, because that's amazing. Love that. And what's different in you?
Definitely the fact that I feel free from my chains that were holding me down, because before I was in my process of healing. Like I was understanding a little bit more of God, and like I did love Him, but not the way I do now.
Yeah.
Because I love Him now to the point where it's like I actually want to do things for Him. I want to do things that are for His glory and for His honor, not living for myself anymore. I don't want to do things that are like desirable to my flesh. I want to do things that are desirable to God and God only.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. That's good, y'all. That's good. Gabby, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Thank you. He's getting ready. Ladies and gentlemen, Loco Lloyd. Somos lobos, pero locos, ganaremos, aunque pocos. Lloyd and I were on the same team, and a slight translation of what we were just saying, we are wolves. A little bit crazy. Though we are small, we are wolves. All right, so, Lloyd, what were you feeling before the trip? Yep, thanks.
I wasn't really feeling anything. I was just going there with a curious mind, and just seeing what like God has in store for me. And see how He could use me. That's it.
All right. What did He have in store for you? How did He use you?
All right. So one of the ways He used me was definitely during worship. Like the guys there, they're like more to themselves. They're like, it's not like a manly thing to like worship like how we do. So like me and my boys like like just worshiping the same way we worship here over there, like brought them out of their comfort zone, and like brought like the fear like out of them, and like giving them freedom to just thank you for taking a picture of me, you Gabby, just like giving them freedom to just worship God like with their whole heart without having like a boundary, like sending them like back and stuff. So yeah, that was cool. That was one of the ways.
Yeah. What's one of the biggest moments for you in Colombia?
I have a couple. shout out Jersey Drake. You know Drake?
There's a kid in Colombia named Drake.
Yeah. But one of the things was definitely Samuel. Like I keep like going back to that. Like Wednesday we were talking about fear and like and like I prayed over him and like you can see that he was just like he was so like secluded. Like he was just like holding it all in. Like he didn't want to give it out. He didn't want to give his like he wanted to, but like fear is what like was keeping him. And like when I prayed over him, he was just bawling out. And I prayed in English, so like, yeah, you speak no English. And then the next day, Dina was like stand up if you want to give your life to God, blah blah blah, or raise your hand. And like he raised his hand, but like he didn't stand up. And then he started like sitting in the corner, like crying like this again. And like I just started praying over him and stuff. And like by the end of the day, before we left, like he texted me he did like the Google Translate thing. And then he was like I was so like scared and like I had so much fear like before, and like 5 minutes ago I just gave my life to God. So like just seeing that was definitely like
Amen. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. What's changed for you?
I think the big C word for me was contentment. And like I thought I was content and grateful for what I had, but like not really. When I like started like breaking it down, and like cold showers is the biggest one. It doesn't sound like bad, but it's bad. It was terrible, and the fact that they have to do that every day is crazy. I have to shower one body part at a time because I can't put my full body in the water.
Because then you scream.
Yeah, I was screaming. It's bad. It's terrible. It's not. I don't wish that on anybody. Like, I'm being so serious. You're laughing, but I'm not.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, thank Lloyd for sharing. Thank you, man. Mr. Aiden, welcome, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm glad you're sharing.
Me too.
All right, good. Hey, what were you feeling before the trip?
Before the trip, I wasn't really feeling like ready to go like just minister and teach children and teens in another country. I just didn't feel like they actually like I wouldn't be able to give them something that they needed, and that it would just be like a waste of their time by me being there. But it was just so great seeing that just by me being there, it was a lot for them. Like it actually meant something to them. And seeing that like multiple kids telling me like that they looked up to me, and it was like really impactful.
That's huge. Did you have any moment that was like, man, this was huge for me?
I think it was definitely when when we were in the church on Wednesday. And like we were praying for people, and I was praying for one person, and he like started shaking, and he was crying, and I was like, it just means so much to see like the Holy Spirit working, and like I'm praying in English, and he doesn't even know English, but he's still like receiving the Holy Spirit in that moment. And another time when I was praying by myself in church after that, and this little kid comes up and starts praying for me. And it just meant so much because like I didn't know what he was saying, but it just meant so much to know that like he cared and he prayed for me.
Yeah, no, it's so sweet. What's changed in you?
I would definitely say what changed me is definitely to try and live like better as a role model, to think of everything that I'm doing and put more effort into that.
Yeah. Man, that's huge. Being an example. Y'all make some noise for Aiden. Thank you, man. Thank you. Ariel. Did you see that coming?
Yeah.
All right. It's not how you say your name.
No.
I won't say it the right way, though. So, Oriel, how were you feeling before the trip?
I was feeling, I didn't want to go. Like, I think it was like the last week. I was like, okay, I don't want to go anymore. but I'm very glad that I did. I would never exchange that moment for anything, but I was like, because I haven't been following Christ like before the trip, because I was like, okay, I'll do it later. No, I didn't. Life just got really busy, and I just like forgot. And but I'm like, I just didn't want to go, but I'm so glad that I went. So.
Yeah. Why are you glad? What happened?
A lot. I lost my voice for one, so
Day 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
day
it was
2 I
real
lost my
fast.
voice. I couldn't speak. I couldn't do anything. I talked. Nothing came out. But I would say that God did move. I saw a mother and a daughter reconnect, like get closer, and it was just like really warmed my heart because that was me and my mom like a year ago, and just watching us like reconnect was like, okay, I know God's working. Watching us worship with those the boys and the girls and all the kids, and like seeing them see us, and they're like, okay, we can do this. And then they just started jumping and laughing and everything, and just like watching like Maddox, Lloyd, and Christian like all get in a circle and like jump around. And their favorite thing to do was, what is that? I don't know, you like you grab each other by the arm and like just like spin yourself in a circle with each other, like link arms.
Yes.
I can't explain it. But just watching everyone worship, and I don't know, it was just like really special to see the power of God moving through that trip. Even if I did lose my voice, just like watching everyone just be happy, especially with very little, they were very happy and grateful. And it's just like, it showed me to be more thankful than I already am and everything. And
Yeah. Hey, what's different now for you?
I'd say the love for Colombia is definitely there now, and the love for missions, and just wanting to go back, and just I would live there. I would live there and be with those kids every day if I could. Just like wanting to go back and like minister to them when I have a voice, and like being able to connect with them more. And like I want to be able to like sponsor a kid and like just meet them and be like, okay, like I know them, like I know their story, they know mine and everything. And just like wanting to follow the Lord more and more, I guess, just changed. So.
Amazing. Ariella, thank you so much. Y'all make some noise for... Hey, Miss Zoe. Hello. All right. How was this trip for you? What were you anticipating?
Before this trip, I was very, very nervous because I was just full of anxiety about just my teaching part on this trip, because I know I don't know a lot of you here, and going into this trip I just had such a cloud over my eyes because before coming I had no friends here, I had no relationships beforehand, and teaching for me is just so hard. And after teaching, that cloud was just lifted. It was amazing to just hear all the feedback of what these children heard out of my message. And
and you crushed it in teaching. It was really good. And so was there any other moments that you had that were breakthrough for you?
Yes. So on this trip, I had immediately clicked with a friend group of Colombian girls, and I really enjoy spending time with children. So this whole time, we were just friendship, there was connection, and when Dina had come up and asked who wants to give their life to Christ, which is such a big question, it's the most important question, and my little girl who I was friends with the whole trip had raised her hand. She's one of the quiet ones, and it was just so good to see just that work, the seeds that we put in, just being shown on that trip.
Come on, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, celebrate somebody giving their life to Jesus. Hey, what's different for you?
Definitely my trust has been built up through this trip. Before the trip, I had so much guarded things in my life. I was not open. I had just isolated myself from friendships, from family members. And after this trip, I was able to really open up, like, entirely from this trip. And that's a big step for me.
That's huge. That's huge. Hey, y'all thank Zoe. Thank you. Well, hello, Miss Lana.
Hello, Josh.
All right. Before Colombia, what were you feeling?
Inadequate. Like I wouldn't be bringing anything. You know, they announced the trip, and I was like, oh, a missions trip. I can't do that. No way. But after some talking with seeing my brother so eager to go, you know, like, hey, let's go do this. I was like, okay, let's go do this. And I was pretty nervous, especially talking to a bunch of people that don't understand English, and I'm not very good at Spanish, so.
Yeah. And then what happened?
We actually connected really well, seeing the kids and like talking to them. They'd run up to you and be like, oh, ¿tú hablas español? And I'm like, no. And they're like, okay. And then they'd speak to me in Spanish anyway. Like, who cares? But it was so sweet. A bunch of the little kids would try to teach me Spanish, like, oh, this is how you say duck, pato, and then like explain things. And I understood what they were saying, but it was really hard to talk back to them.
And pato is a very important Spanish word, which means duck.
See.
So, hey, what else stood out to you on this trip?
The joy these little children have. They don't have a lot, but they have joy. And they're happy. And then they see us here and they're even more excited, even though they barely know us.
Yeah. What's different for you?
Different. I'm very grateful. So grateful. Like, what they have over there, they do have something, but it's so little compared to what we have here. Like, I have so much to be grateful for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lana, thank you so much. Y'all make some noise. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, one more time. One more time, I want to reemphasize something. That you allow God to do something in your heart tonight to open you up to the mission that He has called you to. Here's what I love. I actually had no idea what they would say when we asked those questions. But there was a recurring theme that I wasn't really ready for. And it was, what were you feeling before this trip? And what you heard is 95% of the students said something like, inadequate. I didn't think I was ready. I didn't think I was close enough to God. I was in hey, how many of y'all lived in Florida longer than a year? Anybody? Okay, all right, okay. When a hurricane is coming and it's spinning, one of the things it does before it dumps 8 feet of water is it sucks up all the water in front of it. Have you ever seen that? You ever seen that, like the canals empty before they overflow right after? And here's what I think almost every single person here saw is, as we were getting ready for the trip, there was this moment where it felt like things were pulled away from them, but then what they watched God do was pour out incredibly more.